What's up guys, it's Luke. So this is going to be a very different video than what I usually do. So this morning, YouTube recommended me this video by, I think the channel name was A Bucket of Jake or A Bucket of Jakes. I don't quite remember. It was a video called The Darkest Album of All Time or something like that. Or the darkest album I've ever listened to, and I'll link the video so you can go watch it. But it was about this album, or rather series of albums by the Caretaker called Everywhere at the End of Time, and it's split into 6 stages, with each stage representing a stage of a dementia patient or Alzheimer patient's slow descent into just full-on loss of memory and consciousness, basically. So I already listened to stage 1 at like 1 o'clock. Stage 1 is around like a half hour long, and stage 1 is supposed to represent like the first onset of dementia, where like you're normal basically, like you don't sense anything bad, but like you start realizing that like something's a little bit off, and the music represents that. So the music is this like 20s or 30s like ballroom music. It's kind of joyous, it's kind of slow paced, and it sounds like it was recorded back then. There's a lot of like vinyl crackle over some of the tracks. Some of the tracks are more clean. There's some like joyous ones, and there's some also like very beautiful, calm, serene ones. But they're basically looped, a lot of them, pretty repetitive. It's like they're these memories that you just keep like trying to access over and over. But the thing about it is that it sounds like it was kind of recorded in another room. Like you can recognize the melodies, you can recognize the instrumentation, but it seems like slightly out of reach. Like you can't quite completely make it out. So I think that represents just like that first stage of memory loss. It's like you would just assume it's forgetfulness. And even though most of the tracks are like either joyous or just serene, there's kind of like this unnerving atmosphere to it, because it's like there's this hidden sadness beneath it. Like you know that this is like the last time that these melodies will be completely recognizable, that you'll be able to fully access those memories. And like something bad is about to happen. You just get this like kind of haunting vibe. Like these tracks give off the vibe of like you're in a horror movie or something, where there's just this distant old music playing in the background while like horrible stuff is about to happen. That's the vibe I got from it. So pretty soon I'm gonna start actually listening to stages 2 through 6 in order, with maybe a few breaks, but it's just gonna be me and my laptop and my headphones listening to this, and then I'll film my reactions to the sections afterwards, maybe during the sections if there's anything that sticks out to me. But yeah, I'll see you soon. So already starting off, I'm noticing it's a bit different from stage 1. Like there's still recognizable melody in the first track, but there's this subtle like pulsating white noise in the background. It's as if like it's recognizable, it's coherent, but like there's just something a little bit off about it. Like you're starting to lose grasp of it just slightly, and it's making me scared for what's to come. And also the melody in this first track is kind of jumbled. It kind of sounds a little bit like it's being played backwards, and meanwhile you have this like blissful, serene synth pad in the background that's playing in both ears, and it kind of seems like the white noise is actually getting louder as it goes on. It's like it's very subtly distorted, but still kind of recognizable. So I just got to the track Glimpses of Hope in These Trying Times. So now it's starting to get kind of unsettling. Like it's not joyous or upbeat anymore. The melody is kind of haunting. It's really dissonant, and there's this like droning in the background kind of, and it's just it's really creepy and unnerving, and now I'm actually getting scared for the remainder of this stage. It's like the realization that something wrong is finally setting in. So now on the track Surrendering to this Despair, there's this somber melody, but it kind of sounds like there's footsteps in the playing on top of it at certain points, and it's weird. It pans from right to left. I don't know why that's there, but it kind of caught me off guard. And now getting closer to the end of the track, those like walking sounds are getting louder. It's like it's extremely noticeable now. And it's just playing persistently on top of the track, and it's like almost grating in a way. It's just like I want it to stop. I want to be able to hear this melody, but there's just this persistent sound repeating on top of it, and it just won't go away. So at the end of Quiet Dusk Coming Early, there's just this repeating, like, clicking sound. It's at the very end instead of persisting throughout the entire track. It's like you have this coherent memory, and then the crackle and the noise just keeps getting louder and more persistent, and you start realize that you can't hold on to these memories forever anymore. Okay, it's 8:44 p.m. now. I just finished stage 2. So that was pretty similar to stage 1. The mood was a little more depressing than stage 1. It was less joy. There was some moments of joy there, but overall it was kind of gloomy. There was a little more crackle. There was some noises scattered throughout, as there was certain tracks where it was just persistent noise that wouldn't go away. It was kind of annoying at times. The final track, it started out kind of joyous, but it slowly got more like depressed as time went on. It was like a realization that like my memory is starting to slip away and there's nothing I can do about it. There were some tracks where it would just stop and then it would reverberate for a little bit and slowly fade out. I think there was like one track where it was starting to echo in the middle of it instead of the end. I think this is the last stage where everything is gonna be like mostly coherent, because I think stage 3 is gonna get a little bit more chaotic, and I'm kind of scared for that. So here we go with stage 3. Okay, hold on. So I had to pause here. So track E1 literally just stopped abruptly in the middle of a measure. It, like, tracks before this have just stopped abruptly, but this one just did it with no warning, not even at the where it felt like it was the end. It was just in the middle of a measure, and that caught me completely off guard. There's probably going to be more like that, and now I'm very worried. So track E3, Hidden Sea Buried Deep, that's the first track that really feels like an incomplete memory, because there's just this very, like, broken sounding piano sample that's pretty short, and it just keeps looping, but, like, in between the loops, there's this clicking sound that sounds like it's, like, echoing in a cave, and it kind of sounds like a heartbeat. It sounds just like it's a memory that's like breaking apart, and then it just cuts off abruptly again. Now we've officially reached the point where memories are actually starting to fade away. So I reached the end of stage 3. So this stage, so it started out being kind of similar to stage 2, like the melodies were recognizable, kind of. It was just that they were very subtly, like, distorted, and there were, like, reverb and delay effects added, and some of the tracks were very short, cut off abruptly, felt like completely fragmentary, but as it went on, the tracks just, like, it started to lose any semblance of, like, a structure. Like, the tracks slowly started to feel like they were just flowing together. Just became more of a drone than an actual melody. The ending tracks, there was just lots of delay and reverb, and the last track in stage 3, Mournful Camaraderie, it felt like it was a memory that was being replaced or something like that, because it was just these hints of a melody that you could kind of make out, but the rest of it was just completely, like, amorphous, flowing together, and getting steadily louder in the background was just this droning synth in both ears that was kind of pulsating and just slowly getting louder, and then all of a sudden it just cuts off and stage 4 begins, and that honestly, and it was just a noise, and it honestly kind of jump scared me. I got up to go to the bathroom, get a quick snack, because honestly I was getting pretty tired. I was starting to fall asleep a little bit, because the ending tracks of this stage were pretty, like, soothing, honestly, in a weird way. But now that's the last stage where there's going to be, like, any recognizable structure or melody. I feel like from here on out, every track is about 22 minutes long. It's gonna be just chaos and walls of noise that's eventually just going to turn into nothingness. And so honestly, I don't know if I'm mentally ready for this, or if I'm even gonna be able to stay awake through this, because we still got like 4.5 hours to go. I don't know, we're about to start stage 4. This is the first post-awareness stage, so wish me luck. So I reached the end of stage 4, finally. And again, the beginning of stage 5 just jump scared me. Honestly, that was a slog. I was honestly just, like, scrolling through Twitter and stuff, and the comments section of this video in the middle of it. Mostly it was just bits and pieces of melody here and there for a lot of it. I mean, mostly like the beginning tracks. The third track, like the momentary bliss, like temporary bliss, that was basically the same, just like bits and pieces of melody, except this time it was brighter, like piano or like synth samples that were like shiny and sparkly and blissful, but that just went on for like 22 minutes, just not really changing that much. And then the final track, it became less like jumbles of noise and more slow paced, steady. It was like bits and pieces of the samples from the beginning stages, except just very stretched out, and basically you couldn't even tell what they were from anymore. But one moment in this stage stuck out to me in particular. It was one of the first two tracks. I think it was the second one, but it was just the bits and pieces like suddenly cut out, and suddenly you just hear this whoa sample, like synth pad, and then just this haunting, creepy, slow melody. And then that just repeated for a while, and that creeped me out so much. Because that was totally unexpected. That was not where I expected it to go. But then the rest of it just kind of continued as normal. So yeah, now it's basically, it turned from like an oldies, like ballroom album into just like an ambient kind of drone album. And stage 4 was like that, just like repetitive, kind of boring. I can't imagine what the next two stages are gonna be like. So I think I'm gonna take another break to get like another snack or something, get some more water. But I'm ready for the next two stages. We're like halfway through. It's gonna be like 3 more hours, so yeah. Something I also realized after getting a snack is it's pretty fitting how, as I've listened to this album, it's gradually gotten darker and quieter in my surroundings. Like, it's pitch black outside now. It's 8:28 p.m. right now, or 11:28 p.m. And the only person still awake in my family is my sister, I'm pretty sure. So, kind of fitting how, as this character's mind gets quieter, my surroundings are getting quieter too, so yeah. But anyway, let's continue with stage 5. Stage 5 is done. It's almost 1 a.m. Not much to say about stage 5 other than that it started out like somewhat similar to stage 4, with just like very quick bits and pieces of music, just really jumbled up and like unrecognizable. And then as it went on, it just evolved slowly into just a drone. That's all it really was. It was just drones. There were like very few bits of melody in there in that whole 90 minutes, but like it was very, very few and far between. The rest of it was just like random noise. The second track though was pretty interesting sonically, actually, because there was stuff going on in both ears at the same time, but it was very different. And there was one section where there was just like a loud sort of melody in one ear while the other ear was quieter. And also like the beginning parts of the first track, you could kind of hear like singing. You could hear some semblance of lyrics, but you couldn't really make out what they were saying. So I think at this point, any semblance of like musicality or what the original melodies were is just completely gone. Like the memories have just completely faded away. So we're officially past the 5-hour mark. We have like an hour and a half to go. Only one stage left. I'm gonna take one last break to go to the bathroom, and then we're just gonna finish it off. So finally, after 6 straight hours of listening to this thing, it's over. I don't even know what to say. Stage 6, it was just drones and noise the entire time. And near the end of it, there were parts where there was just long periods of complete silence, and then just a low drone, and then back to silence. The character portrayed in this, and you, if you're thinking of this, you're experiencing this point of view, you are essentially dead. That's it. You're gone. Your existence just fades into nothingness. Even though I can't say I cried at the ending like a lot of other people did, it still felt so viscerally emotional. I don't even have words to like accurately describe how this all felt. That was probably the most terrified and awestruck I've ever felt by a piece of music. That was one of the most important pieces of music I think I've ever listened to. And even though I don't think I'm ever gonna come back to this again, I'm hopefully never going to forget this experience, because this was just indescribable. So that's it. I've listened to this entire thing in basically 2 sittings, and I have to thank the Caretaker, Leyland Kirby, for making this, because this was honestly a masterpiece. This is a magnum opus. I don't think like anything else I've ever listened to has ever made me feel this way. I've listened to You Won't Get What You Want by Daughters. That album was disturbing, but not as like existentially disturbing as this was. This is disturbing in a different way. Like this project makes you basically feel what it's like to just die and have your existence just slowly dissolve. I don't think anything else I'm ever going to listen to is really going to make me feel that way. So thank you, the Caretaker, and thank you, whoever is watching this reaction. I'm finally gonna try to go to bed now. So, good day or good night, wherever you are, and goodbye. One final message: if you're suffering or from dementia or memory loss, any kind of thing like that, or a loved one is suffering from it, stay strong. I believe in you. You can get through it. I love you. We're all in this together. Goodbye.